admit that when Alfa Romeo released the 8C, I wasn't all that impressed. It costed far too much, it didn't have the performance to match, and I'll be honest, I didn't actually love the way it looked. But when Alfa Romeo released the 4C, it completely changed the way I viewed modern Alfa Romeos. It's beautiful, it's lightweight, it's an Italian marvel that doesn't cost as much as a house. And that is something I can get on board with. The 4C takes styling cues from the 1967 Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. It's got similar lines, and that results in one of the most unique yet also beautiful cars on the road. Everything is functional as well. All the aero bits you see in intake add to the performance of this car. It also features a carbon fiber monocoque, something that is normally only reserved for supercars. To keep the weight down, that is everything that Alfa Romeo is trying to do with this car. It's got aluminum front and rear subframes. We don't even have a glove box. No power steering either. That means that the communication between the driver and the road is sublime when you're driving quickly. It also means when you're driving around parking lots, it is horrible and extremely hard to turn the wheel. But this is a driver's car, and oh boy, is it a driver's car. In a world of gargantuan cars where consumers are asking for more and more legroom and more isolation from the road, the 4C is a diamond in the rough. A Hellcat almost weighs as much as 2 4Cs. That is ridiculous. The curb weight is under 2,500 pounds. And even crazier is the Spider variant is only 20 pounds more than that. Usually you gotta add an extra 0 to that figure to get the curb weight for the convertible or the Spider, but not this. And you don't lose too much structural rigidity because it has that carbon fiber monocoque. You've got a mid-engine layout for better weight distribution, and having a mid-mounted engine also means there's no need for a drive shaft because it's rear-wheel drive, which further saves weight. It's rear-wheel drive, which means it's incredibly fun in the turns, no power steering, which makes it even more fun. It's incredibly lightweight, which makes it even more fun. This car is an absolute riot. Now, the power figures aren't crazy. That's because it's really lightweight. It doesn't need to be. It's also an incredibly small car, so cramming an engine in the back is obviously difficult. 1.75 liter inline-4 turbocharged, 237 horsepower, and 258 pound-feet of torque. Those power figures sound like a joke. I mean, that's a base model 3 Series. This is supposed to be a high-performance supercar, but in a car this light, this car rips. One of my favorite parts about this car is the turbo wastegate. It makes whooshes kind of akin to a Pagani Huayra. I know that's nuts to say in a car of this price range, but there are some similarities with this and really high-end supercars. If this actually had 700 horsepower or something like this, this would be a full-fledged supercar or hypercar. It has the looks. The weight is ridiculously low. It has a 6-speed dual-clutch gearbox that is very, very quick, and it punches you through shifts in a very satisfying manner. Oh. And the brakes are insane. Slam on the brakes and 60 to 0 happens in under 100 feet. Let me tell you another car that does figures like that, the Viper ACR. 0 to 60 happens in the 4C in just 4.1 seconds. 4.1 seconds for a car with 237 horsepower. That is insane. And it does feel really quick. But the best part about the 4C is the handling. Because it's so lightweight, because it doesn't have power steering, it is so direct, it is so fun, the car is so nimble in the turns, it is absolutely addicting. And because there's so much weight savings, the glass is very thin, and you can hear that engine behind you like it's in the passenger seat. It's insane, especially the turbo noise is incredible. Oh my God, and the exhaust sounds incredible. This has to be one of the best sounding 4-cylinders ever. We got the Fiat 500 Abarth, that's also an incredible sounding 4-cylinder, but man, did they nail it with this car. We got 4 different driving modes. Normal, which is, of course, normal for everyday driving. Dynamic, which sharpens up the throttle response, the shift times, and lessens the traction control a bit. We've got all-weather mode in case it gets a little slippery out there, and then Alpha Race mode, which you can guess what that does. So why would you buy this car? What is the appeal? What is the real appeal of a 4C? This is a driver's car, first and foremost, and pretty much only. This is 100% dedicated to having a blast driving around on back roads. This is not a highway cruiser. It's not going to be very fun in town. But man, when you take this thing through the turns, you instantly understand how much of a work of art this car really is. The suspension is perfectly set up as well. Riding over rough bumps, it's not all that bad, but the body roll is virtually non-existent. In the interior, driver focused yet again. You've got the center dash area pointed towards you. Some of the electronics are a bit of a joke. I mean, we've got an Alpine head unit that's off the shelf, something that you could buy at Best Buy, but furthermore, weight saving. We've got manual seats, weight savings again, but they're actually very, very comfortable, and they look beautiful as well. I love the stitching in the headrest with the Alfa Romeo logo. It looks incredible. Oh man, this car is fun. You can hear rocks in the road. Definitely with that carbon fiber monocoque, you hear little bits of the road bouncing up against the car. This is gonna sound crazy, but the car that feels closest to the 4C that I've been in terms of sound, ride, and isolation from the road would have to be the McLaren P1. It's got that similar whoosh of the turbos, the wastegate noises, and while I haven't driven a P1, I've driven a 650S and a 570S, I imagine a similar sort of razor sharp handling would be there as well. So is this the budget supercar? I think yes. This is about as close to owning an exotic car without completely breaking the bank that you can possibly get. It's got everything if you check off the list but the super powerful engine. But because this car is much lighter than most supercars on the road, it in a way makes up for its lack of power. Of course, you know, when you mash the throttle on the freeway, you're not going to get that surge that you do in a 600 horsepower supercar. But this handles every bit as good as something like a Lamborghini Huracan or a McLaren 570S for obviously way, way less money. How about the attention? Attention is a part of supercar ownership experience. It just comes with having a crazy looking car. Well, the 4C turns just as many heads as driving a Ferrari down the road, especially if you're in lower gears and you hear the exhaust screaming. People see it and they go, what the hell is that? And most likely they're gonna guess it is a Ferrari. If I had to pick between this and a Ferrari that's in its price range, I'm choosing the 4C all day. This is way more fun than a Ferrari 360. The instrument cluster in this car is sexy as hell, and it changes with the 4 different driving modes. We've got natural, all-weather, dynamic, and alpha race. All of these alter the throttle response, the shift times, and the level of traction control intrusion to have the perfect setup for the scenario that you're in. Right now, we've got a hairpin left-hand turn. You're gonna want to be in dynamic mode. The brakes work so well. Downshift. Oh, it grips well too. Ooh. Oh my God, this car is a riot. Woo! I mean, in summary, the driving position is incredible in the 4C. We've got insanely good visibility over the front hood. It slopes down instantly so you can place the car on the road with ease. It feels small. The car is small. It is like driving a slightly enlarged go-kart on the road. I say that with some cars, but this, it's more true than ever. The design is unmistakably Italian, from the exterior to the gorgeous interior. I love the way the seats look in this car. My one gripe with the interior is the switches for the air conditioning. They look incredibly cheap. If they had made those out of carbon fiber instead of plastic, it would have enhanced the appearance of that section of the interior. But other than that, I mean, we've got a leather handle on the door. That's only in stuff like a Pagani Huayra. Fully carbon fiber surround on the instrument cluster, carbon fiber air conditioning vents, carbon fiber mirror cap. I am in love with the 4C. If you want a car that the sole purpose is for having a good time driving it, putting a smile on your face, listening to ridiculous turbo noises, this is the car to buy. It's not practical, there's barely any luggage space, it's hard to drive at slow speeds, but you don't give a shit about that when you drive this car at high speeds around turns. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. Special thanks to Suburban Alfa Romeo of Ann Arbor for making this review possible. They've got a ton of different 4Cs there available right now, so make sure to go and check them out. I look forward to seeing you next video.